Yes, sir. 13 are installed. They're in the residential areas. The 7 that we're talking about are 3 that we had talked about putting in the downtown area, and the 4 on the highway. The 4 on the highway, once we get permission, it'll take about a half a day to get those up and running.
Okay. Well, I know we're gonna play with Gary. We're all playing with numbers and looking at it, but I know your dire need for what you are requesting, and especially for those officers. And like I said, we hadn't gotten into races, but I want you to know it's not falling on deaf ears.
Well, I appreciate it. As I put in my budget proposal, my guys worked and didn't back down, and during the pandemic, and even during this time when we had this shooting stuff,
Yes, sir.
the numbers that I'm going to be giving y'all are going to show that. And it's just that I really want to take care of them, and anything that we can do for them, I would be greatly appreciated.
Well, Buster, you all have earned it, and I think all of us around here and around the table knows that y'all have earned it, and there's nothing outrageous. So, like Gary said, we're working on it. Hadn't gotten to it.
I understand.
Yeah.
Buster, one of the things that is kind of went up a whole bunch last year is why is software maintenance and agreements? Why is that gone up so much?
The software maintenance and agreement, the biggest is our software that we have, that our general operating software we have with Tyler Technologies. Their maintenance agreement has gone up, and I don't remember what that number is off the top of my head, and Dominique might can help me, but just for the maintenance agreement is around $20,000 a year.
Yeah. And the only reason I asked the question is in 21 we budgeted $36,000.
Right.
No, we didn't. We budgeted 53. I'm sorry.
We only spent 36. Are you done with the year, Chief? Could we knock this down to like maybe 40?
I don't have those numbers in front of me, but we have various softwares that we use and equipment, and I will have to take a look at it, but I can call you a little bit later on this morning, Miss Dominique, and let you know about that number.
Yeah, what she's saying, Buster, is you've only spent $36,000.
Correct.
Along those same lines, gas, oil, and diesel, you've asked for an increase from 72 to 90, but you're anticipating spending 65,000.
Well, that's the anticipation is just based on what the gas prices are now. And as you know, they're steadily going up. And, we use basically the same amount of gas every week within our patrol cars, give or take probably 50 gallons.
It's not gone up that much, though, 25%.
Sir?
It's not gone up 25%, though, has it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know how high it's going to go up, Brian. It's just, that's one of those figures that's kind of hard to look at, because if the gas prices keep increasing, then I don't really know how to budget for that, depending on whether the fluctuation in it. If it stays at the current level that it's at right now and it doesn't get any higher, then what we had budgeted for last year would be probably be enough for this year. But that's something that
let's just take $10,000 out. That's still going to give you a $9,000 increase.
Let me ask you something, Chief. Are these prices because you're expecting also to have more cars on the street?
Well, if it's not that we're going to have more cars on the street, it's basically the prices. If you go back and look at our mileage that we do and how many gallons that we usually consume, we're basically consistent throughout the whole year. There's going to be some weeks a little bit higher, some weeks a little bit lower. It's just what my estimate was based on the current gas prices and possible future gas prices.
Thank you.
Okay, so
same thing with tires, Buster. You gone up 5,000 on that.
Yeah, now tires is a different thing, and I know we haven't spent everything on it, but I've been kind of holding back because you never know when you're going to have a tire that gets cut, busted, whatever else.
All right, but if you get 5 more cars, isn't that going to solve some of your tire problems?
Got some new tires.
No, sir. It's actually going to make our tire problems a little bit greater because these cars are run just about 24/7, Mr. Gary, and
I understand that, but you're gonna have a new set of tires on the street that you ain't got to buy.
Yes, sir. But I've also got, I still have to worry about road hazards, things like that with tires, tires getting cut, tires going flat, nails getting in the sidewalls where you can't patch them and you have to buy a new tire. Those are the biggest issues that we have.
Yeah.
Prices of tires are going up also.
Sure.
Yeah. Can I ask a question? So
yeah.
if we leave those two particular line items like they were, maybe give him a little bit of increase. If he sees that he has an issue down the road, can we not do a budget amendment?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's what I'm thinking.
Great point. You know, Buster, here's the thing. I understand your tire situation. You only spent $4,500 though.
Yes, sir. And that's my fault. No, I'm just explaining the reason why we only spent 45. We know we have a certain amount to last us throughout the year, and we try to make sure that we have that lasted. It's just like I'm fixing to have to replace whole sets of tires on about 3 or 4 different vehicles. And it depends on the vehicles, like the Tahoes cost about somewhere in the neighborhood of $700 to replace 4 tires on those Tahoes when they get worn out. Okay. So as you can see from that amount, the $10,000, that doesn't leave a lot of wiggle room. So we try to be as judicious and as we can with this money. Now, toward the end of the year, anything that I have, and this is the way we've done it in the past, anything that we have left over on tires, we usually try to go ahead and spend to try to help us out through the budget year of the next year in case there's a shortfall. So I'm planning on spending what little bit of tire money that I've got left over.
You're going to spend $4,500?
Yes, sir. And that's not going to take much to do on several cars. I mean, it'll eat it up very quickly.
Yeah,
you're right. Especially cars that run 24/7. You're absolutely right.
Do y'all run 10-ply tires?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And what I'm planning on doing this year, Mr. Gary, is just kind of like what I do with my paper products, is if I have a surplus, I try to store up. So in case we do have a shortfall, you know, if you remember one year during budget session, I actually cut my paper supply budget and told y'all that I had a bunch on hand. And that's what we try to do. We try to keep stuff on hand. So if we do have a shortfall or whatever, then it's not going to hurt us that much. And as far as tires this year, one thing that we had talked about doing is any money that we had left over, even if we don't have to put them on the car right then, is go ahead and purchase some tires and put them in a stockpile. That way, when we roll into our new budget year, it won't hit us as hard. And if we actually, we're trying to use the money to stockpile stuff. So that way, if we have a shortfall the next year, we've got some tires on hand already.
Okay. Back to Brian's suggestion, let's decrease the tires about $3,000. It's still going to give you $3,000 more than you had in the budget last year. And with that and the 5 new cars ought to help out some. And like Brian said, you know, if it gets to the point you got to have tires, just come to the board and say, you know, we need a budget amendment because we've got to have some more tires.
Hey, Buster.
Yes.
Quick question. Are you still using Axon Enterprises?
Yes, that's the body cameras.
Okay. That subscription was paid in 20, but it has not been paid in 21 yet.
Yeah. That's the 5 year. You remember we went under contract for 5 years on those.
Okay, so it will not be paid in 21?
It should be. I haven't received a bill. I will give them a call. And
Okay,
see.
that's the difference. That's $18,000 subscription. So that's the difference in the computer program maintenance. Because in 20, it was $57,000 paid.
Yeah, but we put it down here in equipment and machinery. Body cameras.
No, that's cameras. That's actual cameras, I think.
You're talking about software?
Axon has not been paid yet. I checked the vendor ledger.
Buster, are you buying 4 new body cameras?
No, sir, we're not buying them. That's the lease payment. If you remember, when we got it, we spread it out payment over 5 years.
That's for the cameras.
Are you gonna look to upgrade those when that lease is up or that contract's up?
The Axon Enterprises is the subscription, right?
Correct. On that, Mr. Bishop, after 2.5 years, they send us new body cameras that's updated or whatever. We just recently received the new body cameras from the one.
Good.
So that's part of the contract.
That's one of those things that just advances so quickly that I'd hate for us to be walking around with a 4 or 5 year old camera on.
Right.
So I'm glad to hear that.
So Dominic, are we talking about the same thing? Is there a subscription fee or is the 18,000 the lease, the payment?
The 18,000 should be the payment. The total contract was for a little over $100,000, and we paid, I think, 21 or 22,000 the first year.
And so if that's the case, then we can reduce computer program maintenance by that amount.
What she's saying is we think we have it double counted. We think we have it because I put that 19,986 in there myself. I pulled the 5-year breakdown that we approved back in like 17 and put that 19,986 there.
So you're saying that's why are you saying that's why software is overstated?
Yeah. Did
Okay.
did you put the subscription for the body cameras in 608 computer programming in that 55?
When it first came out, I didn't know which line item that y'all were going to put it in. I think it was put in 608 to start off with. And that was my understanding that any kind of computer program maintenance would come out of just strictly 608.
Dominique, if you will you allow Chief to check that and verify before we go and do anything with it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because we actually,
it won't take but just a second. When I get through with y'all, I'll give them a call and send Miss Dominique a text message.
Okay, thank you.
All right. What she was saying, Buster, they think we put it on here twice.
Correct. I understand.
Right.
Okay. So she just put it all up in 608 like you've been doing it in the past and got rid of that extra line item she created.
That's good.
Hey, Buster, one more question. On your school crossing guards, why is your anticipated so much lower than your budgeted amount? Is that because of COVID? They weren't in school?
Last year, that's one thing. They weren't in school, so we weren't having to pay them some of the time during the year. But normally, that amount we use close to it. If you'll go back on the last year,
that's why I asked why it changed.
Because school
why you didn't spend as much.
Session, right? And we didn't have anybody out working school crossings.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about school training. You've got $30,000 in that budget.
Right.
But it's my understanding from our discussion yesterday that you also use that line item to send officers to the academy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you get reimbursed for that.
Yes, sir. Sometimes we don't get reimbursed. That's what makes that line item hard. Sometimes we don't get reimbursed in the year that we send them. And like if I send, it's cost $3,600 to send an officer to the academy. We're in the process now. Probably next week next meeting we'll be presenting at least 3 people to y'all for hire. That's $3,600 per person that we have to pay upfront. So that's a little over, that's right at $10,800. Well, we may get that money reimbursed back during this fiscal year. We may not. And that's the reason why that line item jumps. Sometimes we get reimbursed at the end of the fiscal year. Sometimes we get reimbursed during the fiscal year.
Okay, so the rest of my question is this. You only spent $8,600 this year. Some of that obviously is academy cost, and some of it may be additional training.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess what we're concerned about is we want to make sure that they're getting additional training.
That 30,000 should be fine. One reason why we only spent $8,600 is, again, COVID. There was a lot of classes that were shut down. It's all of it is COVID related. If y'all know, the courts were shut down, everything was shut down for a while. So that's the reason why there's some extra that's left over in some of those line items.
Gary, I don't know that we're gonna be able to do it this year, but I'd really like to see us try to figure out a way to increase that line item for Buster and it's not only the new officers, but the existing officers.
Exactly.
I'm training is just Buster, I'm from the fire department, so I'm training and I'm big on that.
Well, that's what I was saying. Even with COVID, the extra training, not just the training academies, but the extra trainings were shut down.
Right.
Everybody was scared of COVID. So that was a big hit to us this past year. And they're just now starting to open them back up. But now with the Delta variant, they're starting to shut some of them back down.
Right.
Dominique, scroll back up a little bit higher, see if there's anything else that we need to take a look at.
Buster, you said you had 3 officers that you were going to present. Is that right?
Yes, sir. We're actually down 3. We're down 4.
You got applicants, is what you're saying.
I've got applications
That's good to hear.
that are going through the hiring process. Right.
Good.
One thing else on that 540 on the schools and training, since we have to shoot so much each year, our ammunition comes out of that line item also. We usually spend somewhere in the neighborhood of around $6,000 a year for ammunition to carry the officers out to the range to keep them qualified and trained. So that money comes out of that line item also, just to let you know.
And ammunition has gone up.
Yes.
Yes, sir, it has. But actually, since we swapped over to the 9mm from the 45s, the cost per case is just a little bit lower than what it was for the 45s.
Okay, Buster, you have any questions?
No, sir. Just want to reiterate, if there's any way possible, my guys have just really, they stepped up to the task. And I believe y'all will see that when I turn that report into you that you asked for. I'm really wanting to see if there's any way possible that they could get something. And it's and I know with the budget how that goes, but I'm really, really, really asking if there's any way possible, please, if we could.
Well, I understand, leader. Chief, I had myself muted, Gary, and excuse me for talking over you. You didn't hear my last question. That's training for our school resource officers.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, me and Gary and Paul, I think we had that discussion our last budget session. How much are they? I mean, are they constantly pitching in? You know, I think some of that training process.
The schools pay for most of the training that the school resource officers have to have. Now, their upfront training costs we have to provide, but some of those schools are actually free. There's no cost. We have to send, if there's somebody that's a new school resource officer, we have to send them to an alert class, which that class is actually free. And then we have to send them to an SRO class. And it's not that expensive. It's probably around $450. But once they become certified as a school resource officer, they have 40 hours that they have to get every year, and the school pays for that training. They pay for the training, the lodging, and everything. So there's nothing that comes out of our budget for that 40-hour training for the SROs. Now, if there's something additional training, such as some type of tactical training or whatever else that we want them to go through, then we have to pay for that.
Okay.
Chief, I have a question. I noticed that for your general operating supplies, you only spent $485. You're asking for $1,000 this time. And for your office supplies, we only spent $1,900, a little over that. And this time we're asking $2,500.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you elaborate on that, please? So you
Yes,
expect
ma'am.
us to do a little more? What's that?
The general operating supplies, actually, we just about zeroed it out. There's things that come up during the year that will not fit in some of these other line items that we take out of general operating supplies. On the office supplies, there again, if you'll look back, and Miss Dominique or Miss Michelle will tell you, we try to be as judicious as we possibly can with our office supplies, and we buy our office supplies toward the end of the budget year. That way, we know that we're going to have what money's left over. We'll be able to plan for the next year. That's how we are able to keep supplies on hand. There again, the reason why I asked for a $500 increase in that is we needed a little bit more paper products, and as far as the paper products, they're a little bit more expensive. We usually go through about 20 to 25 cases of paper a year through having to send stuff to attorneys' offices, the courts, whatever else. And if you will, the cost of that has increased also, and we're just trying to stay with as even keel as we possibly can.
Thank you.
All right.
The school crossing guards are falling in there as well, right?
The school crossing guards are their own line item. There's not a that's not affected anything else. They're their own line item.
That's that 569.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Buster, we appreciate it.
Thank y'all. And if you have any other questions, Miss Dominique or Miss Michelle can text me. I'll get the answers to you. And I will have the answer for that Axon body camera, why that hasn't been sent in, but I will get that to you this morning.
Thank you, Chief.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Things have been very quiet, and we hope it stays that way.
Thank you, Chief.
Don't talk it up, please, Mr. Robert. They
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, don't push your luck.
Right. Just to let y'all know too, we are anticipating an arrest on that armed robbery suspect. It's just that they're from out of town. We're having to work with another agency to get it done. So
Good. Get them.
Great. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Hey, Gary,
Yes.
I looked through here. Did we need a list of his unmarked cars or anything for this. We don't need it in here, do we?
I
Well,
think we, once
I
a
don't.
year, don't we approve all the unmarked cars?
When do we
Yeah,
do?
Yeah, it's usually the first board meeting of the fiscal year, so in
Thank
October.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for a fleet inventory, I can pull that up on the screen too.
Yeah, I think Danny was more concerned with the cost. We don't have anything in that nature. No, it's just unmarked. And
But one thing for the police committee, I have noticed a couple of cars with headlights out, and there's one car still without a car tag, an unmarked car without a car tag going on 5-6 months.
but
Oh.
Danny, they're scheduled to turn in a form at the start of each shift that indicates anything wrong with those vehicles. Every officer to check those vehicles before they even hit the street.
Thank you. What about the car tag?
The same way, there's a timetable. You know, of course, the tax commissioner, it's a timetable on car, tags getting back.
Going on
Just
6 months.
Alderman Abraham, if you could text me the make of that car, we can get
I
that
will.
taken care of.
It's
Yeah.
one Dudley Tribble.
I know he's got some car tags ordered because not too long ago he came in here and got titled to send off for tags.
Okay.
All right, we've got Jamie from the animal shelter up next at 9. So we've got 30 minutes.
Get the dope nuts out.
Move it up.
You know, I guess the thing that I've really stewed over is we got so many people that really do need raises. And yet we're dealing with a budget that's already at a deficit before we get to that point.
Yeah.
You know, it's just sad. You got so many people that aren't working, and we're so fortunate we got people at the city that are working.
And willing to work hard.
Yeah.
But, you know, just to echo those sentiments again, and, you know, I can't say enough about our police department. You know, of course, fire department, but police department, you know, unbelievable.
They probably got the most difficult job in the country right now.
They really do, Brian. You know, you see it all over the country, law enforcement. And
well, that's why we need to continue to emphasize with Buster that they get as much training as they can. With all the changes going on in this world, they need to be up to date on protocol as much as possible.
I agree.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, especially we hiring these young men and women, and they just fresh out the academy, and we need all of it.
Kerry, did y'all run the numbers on the amount of 6%?
Yeah, we did, and it only amounted to about $150,000.
Okay.
Because we're not using
Payroll.
We're not using payroll in that calculation, and payroll makes up 50%. The largest part. Yeah, it makes up almost 50% of our budget.
Yeah.
Scared
of that.
Yeah, it's not as substantial as we think it is when we do that. We still may have to do it just to make this budget work. And like Brian said earlier, if we have to make budget amendments during the year, then so be it.
And I guess I didn't ask him, but he also asked to increase motor vehicle repairs, and I know it was only $5,000 or $6,000, but if he's getting some new vehicles, surely that will help with that.
Yeah, I agree, Brian.
He's got a lot of vehicles though, and I mean they've got repairs. I mean, he's writing POs for those daily.
They're on the road constantly. I know.
24/7.
I don't want Buster to feel like we're nickel and diming him to death.
Who writes those POs?
Buster.
All right, so that's an 8% decrease, 219,000.
Yes, sir.
All right, so if go back, look at your tax. Let's go look at your tax computation for a second. The other day when I was calculating it, I came up with $107,000 per meal, but I'm not sure if that included. Homestead is unaffected by us changing the meal, though, right? Homestead doesn't change.
Right. So homestead is right here. Where is it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's your homestead loss. So, I mean, the net money you get on a homestead is not impacted by a millage change.
What is our total millage now, Gary?
Our total meals are 50 meals.
That's what I thought.
All right, and 15 of that goes to retire bonds. So really, the millage that we use for the city is only 31 mills for the general fund. I know we looked at this a couple of years ago, and we were substantially lower than most other cities around here. The only problem is that our real estate around here is valued so much greater than other cities.
Well, there's a reason for that.
That's a good thing in itself.
It is a good thing, yes. Yeah, so sometimes I said that, Brian, because sometimes it's hard to compare apples to apples.
Right.
Because, a 2,000 square foot house in Clarksdale and a 2,000 square foot house in Cleveland have substantially different values.
Sure, but they get a different level of service from the city too.
Yeah, but their millage is almost double ours.
It is. Indianola's that way too.
Yeah.
So they're probably paying the same dollar amount, but the rate's higher.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So back to my question, Dominique.
Mm-hmm.
Does a meal generate $107,000?
So if you divide this divided by what?
50.
About 50? Yeah,
111.
111. Okay. I was
and
close.
that include, and you remember we include now this kind of like 2% uncollectible, if you will.
Yeah.
So maybe a
They're
little
taking that out though, right?
Well, we put this in here just because we had noticed in years before that what we were
Right, well, what I'm saying is
estimating-
I just divided the 3.5 million by the 31 mills to get 11. So that's including the 2% uncollected.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I said 107. So it's $111,000. All right. So my whole point in this is if you look at the general fund and we increase it by 2 mills,
The 8%.
which would be within our 10% limitation. Then 2 mills.
But what does that mean for the individual taxpayer? How much is that going to cost me?
$20.
Okay.
$20?
It's not much.
No, it's based on the value of your house.
Value of your house, Brian.
Right.
Because it's 2 mills to the value of the house. So a $200,000 house has an assessed value of $45,000.
Then we're 5%, or excuse me, 15%.
No, it doesn't. A $200,000 house has an assessed value of
30.
$30,000.
30,000.
Right. Okay. So yeah. All right. So now you multiply that times 2 mills.
$60.
$60.
Yeah.
Commercial is 10%, I believe.
Dominique,
Yeah.
It's all 15.
David Bridges wrote us up for POs being written after being invoiced. What's been done to correct that?
Everything.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just asking if that was.
We're on top of it.
Thank you.
All right. back to the issue at hand. If we did an 8% decrease across the board to everyone, and we did 2 meals, then you're going to add $222,000. $224,000. So what's the total of your 219 and your 224?
4,300, 4,700, 40,
Okay, so that comes
45,
that
23.
all right. So that pretty much gets us back to even. Now we can budget a deficit if we have money in the bank, correct?
Yeah. Well, they don't like it, but
I don't like it
I
either.
think as long as you have the we should not budget a deficit. I will say that.
I understand that. But by the same token,
But these are projected
we
figures.
are probably a very rare case that has $1.4 million in the bank.
Do we have a city balance sheet somewhere, Dominic?
Yes, sir. It's one of the last few pages in your big book.
Big book or little book?
Your big book.
There it is.
Gary, how much did we end up adding to mosquito?
All right, well, we added $3.
Yeah, let's go over to that real quick. So we moved it to sanitation. Our average mosquito customers, our average number, where is sanitation? All right, so our average number of mosquito customers over 12 months is 4,515 customers, because we have commercial businesses that pay mosquito. And so this is $2 would increase 108,000 if we just go up $2.
That'd work, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, it gets us closer, but it would cover the mosquito, like that's 483. The contract is 468.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's over that. So we could
That's
potentially
all.
go down to 150.
That's all we need to do then.
We got to cover it. Yeah. So is that $2 or $3?
2.
2.
That's $2.
It was 2. Danny, we had more customers than we thought we did.
Yeah. We were thinking 36, 38, but it ended up being 40, what? 45.15.
Yes,
Yeah.
45.15.
Thank you.
Okay, that's good. All right, and of course, taking that out of the general fund,
Yes.
save the general fund $100,000.
And what did we go up on garbage? $4?
$4.
$4. Thank you.
So it'd be 28 for garbage and 9 for mosquito.
What is that doing for our garbage? Does that cover the garbage?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
And the last time we went up on garbage was October 2015. We went up from 22 to 24.
When was the last time we went up on mosquito abatement?
Never.
Never. 14 years I've been here.
This is the first time we ever touched it, Brian, to my knowledge.
Okay. The reason I ask, you know what's going to happen when we start increasing fees, we're going to get questions. So I just want to be able to answer that question.
And we hope to communicate that through the paper and other ways.
Right.
We'll send it out too, with all the water bills. We'll send out the ad that way, since so many people don't read the paper. So.
Put it on the website too as well.
Back to the general fund. So you want me to go ahead and do
Dominique,
that? Go ahead and do that to make that 30. It'll go ahead and update the tax. I don't know why I'm making it 33. I will put us at 5.7. So that dropped us down to 218, and then we're 8% cut will bring us down to 219. So we have a surplus of $1,000 some odd dollars.
Say that again now.
What is that?
So I added the 2 meals up here.
Okay.
Took
Right.
that from 31 to 33.
Right.
When I did that, it updated the budget worksheet.
Oh,
So
okay.
you
Which
saw it.
is that? What? Yeah. So it's taking in consideration that 224 you got over there on the right,
Oh, I
and so
took that
if we
out.
did an 8% decrease, then that 219 will get us back to even.
Correct. So if
Okay.
I subtract that, then
I got you. Okay. All right. Okay. At least that gives us, if we start looking at some pay raises, then that at least gives us something to think about. At least we're at even now.
Gary,
Right.
yeah, Gary, I also think that we say we don't want to nickel and dime everybody, even though we're going to do that 8% or whatever. I think things that we can do budget amendments, like the gas and different things, we need to nickel and dime everywhere we can at this point.
Well, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, well, that's what we need to
We're
continue.
we're nickel and diming every department. I
And
mean,
it will mean something to the employees. That way.
yeah.
Gary,
Well, yes, sir.
What would did you say a 3% pay raise?
No, we haven't said
We ain't
anything
even gotten
yet.
there.
We ain't even got. We ain't
I
even
didn't
gotten
know
there yet.
if you had any numbers yet on any.
Well, the one thing you got to look at is in your package, every single department head has a request for incentive raises
Okay.
for specific employees. So we're going to have to look at every one of those first before we even look at a across the board raise. Dominique, do me a favor, pull up that balance sheet since Brian asked the question, and let's make sure everybody understands something. And something else, Mayor, I want to point out before we leave today. When we get to payroll, remind me to say something about that.
yeah, let me rerun that balance sheet y'all have in y'all's packet. That was pre-bank reconciliation, so I'm gonna rerun it from our system. Give me just a second.
It's the last page.
All right, while she's doing that, let me say what I was going to say. In the back of this big book right here is the payroll for every employee at the city. And I just want to remind everybody, as the leaders in the city, this information can't get away from us.
No.
Right.
Because I mean, that's, payroll is an executive session item all the time, and nobody needs to know those numbers but us.
And loose lips sink ships.
Info.
Were they distributed at the last meeting? I guess I just didn't get one.
This big book?
Yeah.
It's in the back of your big book.
Page 273, 274, 275.
Yeah, 278.
The hard copy, was that distributed?
Dominic,
they're here at City Hall.
Okay, I just
Yes,
didn't. That's okay.
Yes.
All right, so this is what our balance sheet looks like in terms of cash. So we do have a surplus. And that doesn't mean anything, because that surplus 10 years ago was about $5 million more than it is right now. We need, when you figure it costs, we got a $20 million budget. So the city spends $1.5 million a month. When you have a situation like an ice storm like we had in '94, you can wipe this cash out in 6 months.
Quickly.
All right. Brian asked me the question about the investments. What the investments represent is this: Dominique and Michelle keep enough money on hand to meet monthly obligations. Any excess is invested just to get us a little extra earnings, but that's done every 30 days. But anyway, I just wanted everybody to see that, just so you understand what that means.
If you call attention to the due to, due to, most of that is due from the sewer fund. So we've sent quite a bit of money to the sewer fund just to keep it afloat.
Yeah, that's the other thing that's hurting us with this Siemens arrangement. The general fund has been beat up because of that sewer fund.
Could I ask a question about the monies that we receive with the stimulus monies that have come in, and I think we've received half, and then another half will be due.
It's in another fund, Kirk. It's in a
Do
separate.
we have to keep that in a separate checking account, or just identify that as a separate fund?
I have it in a separate fund. I can find out for sure. I think we're okay if it's just in a separate fund, which, by the way, we got that money in July. So it's not reflected in this general checking account balance.
In talking to Carl Goodman, who's with Dave Bridges, he mentioned that he thought there was a requirement to have it in a separate checking account. I said, Carl, I've looked at the memorandum that was distributed with the funds. I didn't see that requirement. I think you have to keep it separate as a separate account, but identified, but not as a checking account.
And I believe we can invest it.
Yeah,
Also,
you can invest it and you keep the interest, according to the memorandum I read.
also we give that, Dominique, do we have a different fund code for that?
Yes, ma'am. It's
ARP. Yeah, I know we're supposed to have a different fund code.
the fund is, I believe, 530.
Yeah, that sounds right.
What did I have it at?
Yeah.
536.
Thank you.
I thought it should have been in the 500 because we have to do that at where I work. I have to do the same thing.
So,
Dominique, can you hear me?
yes, sir. That was
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got it working here.
good job.
All right, Ted.
All right. Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Ted.
Hey, Ted, good morning.
Excuse me, Dominique, did you find out or try to find out about the second round of PPE money?
No, ma'am, I haven't had
to see if we missed it some way or missed the deadline and we can go back and try to get it?
So in the second round of PPP, you had to be able to show a 25% reduction in income in any quarter relative to 2019.
For municipalities, it wasn't treated like.
Was it not?
It was not treated like a for-profit company.
Okay.
Or even a nonprofit. All of their money, if my understanding was correct, came through the state. And so it was based on completely different policies.
Oh, well, I didn't get to do that.
Right.
Yeah. Anytime the state, like MML, has done a great job to let us know, hey, here's an opportunity to get some funding. And I know for the second one, and the mayor maybe could help me out, I just don't remember them promoting that at all. But the first one and this ARPA money, they were doing webinar after webinar.
Yeah, they're very much on top of it. So.
Well, you know what, I'll just go and find out because I know that they were saying that there should have been a second round going out. And I know that we did receive it. And reason why I asked, I just don't want us to miss out on anything that's going to help us.
Amen.
When you say we, Zena, who is that?
I'm saying the city. I don't want the city to miss
out. No.
When I say we, I'm talking about the school districts. Yeah. So
did the school district's money come from the state? Through the state?
Yes. Well, came through the same. Lieutenant Governor came and met with us and told us what our amount was and all that.
It was a different pot. Municipalities had a pot, counties had a pot, school districts had a pot. It was, from what I understand, and Dominic can correct me, I think you got your money based on different factors. It didn't on income based.
No, it wasn't income. None of this was income based. It's pretty much sensor based. But I just want to make sure that it's something that we didn't miss. That's the only thing I'm saying, because I do know that there was a second part, whether it be for the school or municipalities. Sometimes we miss it. So that's the only thing I was just saying, for us to just check on it, just to make sure that the second round was not for municipalities, since we got the ARP money and they're calling it the same thing, American Release Fund money. So in the school system, we're calling it the same thing. I just want to make sure that it wasn't something that was missed, or they failed to give us some information. That's the only reason why I'm stating that.
If you could send me like the information that you have on the second one, then I could probably find out that way.
I sure will.
Thank you.
Get it to Robbie or Sherry at MML.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Gary?
No, I mean,
Have Jamie.
we're fixing to get Jamie on board right now.
Yeah, we
There
got
she
her.
is.
Yeah, she's in.
Good morning.
Good morning.
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 Good morning.
Jamie, can you see Dominique's screen?
Yes.
Okay, so one thing we're asking the county for is additional money, an extra 37.5. I think your records clearly document that at least 50% or more of the animals you take in come from the county, but yet they pay less than a third of the cost. So we're going to request that they help us out a little bit.
Okay. And we also document who brings them in, and the majority of the time it is the county at animal control officer. So it's coming from a legitimate source.
Okay, that's great. We're just going to go through your budget and just kind of cover what we've done up to this point. That increase in payroll, Dominique, was that because of an extra person?
I remember Jamie received are you talking about up here?
Yes.
Jamie received a raise.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Good. I just couldn't remember what that was. So there was nothing extra in there in terms of employees. And by the way, Jamie, at this point, we have not talked about raises in any department. We're trying to get through the basic elements of the budget before we even get to payroll. All right. So we got an increase in utilities because of the new building.
And that's going to be an estimate because, we're not going to know until the first year's in the books.
It could actually go down because you're going to have a more efficient building.
And it may. We just don't know because we're going to have the whole back of the building will be air conditioned. At this point, it's not. But I am hoping a newer building and more efficiency will help us save some money there. We just don't know.
Okay, we're looking at a pretty good increase in vaccines.
The more animals we've had come in, the more vaccines we go through. Even if we end up we have to vaccinate them on intake. And the length of stay that's increasing because of COVID, it's making us vaccinate them more. And we moved that. We were buying them strictly from the vet under line item 507, and then we started buying them from a vendor to save money. So we started buying them under 603, which was not something we knew we were going to do. So that's why it kind of switched up a little bit on us.
Okay. Are you still shipping dogs out, animals out?
As much as we can. Right now, the 3 places we typically do, one's closed because half their staff has COVID. One shut down for intakes because they have sick animals, and another one is they're just full. They're seeing all the shelters across the country are seeing a huge increase in animals. So it's not just us, it's just not helping anything.
What else comes out of contracted services, Jamie?
Sir?
What else comes out of contracted services?
Contracted services is almost exclusively our vet care. There's also, like, if we, our pest control comes from there, but it's almost exclusively our vet expenses, which is not spay and neuter. It's vaccines if we buy from them, any kind of medical care, which almost every animal that walks in the door has to get some kind of medical care. We get our dewormers, all our medicines, all of that from the vet. They get skin scrapes or have to have surgery or be looked at. That's almost exclusively vet care.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Did your building come in?
Yes, they're actually putting the structure up today. They started yesterday, but they've
Good.
got the metal structure going up today.
Awesome.
It's nice seeing some movement.
Oh, yeah.
And they did say they're hoping we'll be able to move the dogs into the new building by December.
Perfect.
Scroll down, Dominic.
Hey, Jamie, while we strolling down, do you have an open day? We're gonna do like an open house?
Oh, absolutely. We want to push the heck out of that to get the public to come in, because a lot of the public haven't wanted to because of the condition of the building and how it feels sad. But we really want to push, once we get everything settled and in there, we're going to push for a grand opening and maybe have some, work with some of the other departments, maybe the train museum, work with them to get a lot of publicity for it and really advertise it.
It'll be named after William Tribble, if y'all remember the one that made.
Yeah, well, that's extremely appropriate.
So do we have any duplication between contractor services and general operating supplies for your vaccines?
We started purchasing from a vendor from Intervet/Merck because they gave us better prices than the vet. But when we need them from another, like we need them immediately, we get them from the vet as well. And at the end of this year, we have been getting them from the vet because we had more available in that line item than general operating supplies. But general operating supplies is also dog food if we have to buy it. We go to Walmart a lot. Dominique will attest to that. We have to buy cat food, dog food, other supplies from Walmart under general operating supplies as well. But we do buy vaccines under both of those line items.
It was cheaper for them to buy the vaccines direct from the vendor than get them from the vet. So that's why they changed over to get them from Intervet.
And now the vet's been trying to help us shop around. So we're working with both of them, trying to get the best deal. And it may be that we have to buy one type at the vet and one type through our vendor, because some are just a lot more expensive than others.
What do our donations look like in this department? That is an area that we could maybe work on, Jamie. If there are a lot of people in this town that are real that really help out charitable organizations. And I don't care how we look at this animal shelter, a certain degree of it is a charitable organization, Yeah. And I think if we could figure out a way to promote that more, that number right there could be substantially higher. I mean, several thousands of dollars more.
Well, and I did just make a deposit yesterday or Monday for $400 in donations too. So there is that chunk that is not showing up yet, but Jamie, yeah, it is lower than it has been. Yes, sir.
We are reminding everybody to run through the foundation, correct? Yeah. So that they can get the if they wanted to, yeah. Some people, they simply just want to write us a check. Some people, they want to buy us items. So we do get a lot of item donations instead of financial donations. A lot of people. Your item donations are in there or not? They're not.
No, sir. Correct? And some people will purchase off our Amazon wish list and just ship stuff to us. And we do try to thank them on the Facebook page. So they're not reflected financially, but they do help us financially.
How much do you think that is a year?
Oh gosh, one woman sent us probably about $400 worth of items just from someone who had passed away. Easily, I say easily, especially with kitten formula, we've probably been donated almost $1,000 worth of stuff just for kitten supplies. So but they buy it specifically from Amazon and ship it to us.
Or from Walmart, like I did. Okay.
We had a lot of people that go out there, they say, what do you need this week? And they'll go buy us stuff.
So we actually get, there are more donations coming in than reflected.
They're just not all financial.
Mm-hmm. I think seeing that new building will help a lot too, Danny, with y'all.
That's why I'm saying, while we got momentum, we got momentum with that new building. One of the things, and I'm trying not to spend any more money than we have to. One of the things that I think hurts us is the way it looks when you pull up out there with that fencing and that gate. You know, if there was a way that we could make that more attractive, I think it would enhance the whole property.
Our biggest issue with landscaping is maintaining it. My ACOs have been trying with the grass to stay on top of it, but they're the ones who do that on top of their calls. But we would love to get some low maintenance, you know, after the construction's done, some low maintenance landscaping done that's not going to need delicate hands, because nobody here is very delicate with that.
We can ask City Beautification just to look at it and see.
Well, I guess what I was talking about was the fencing and the gate.
Entrance.
Yeah, the entrance just is not an attractive entrance.
Well, we got all the trailers sitting there too next to it. Doesn't help.
Well, we can't, unfortunately, we can't do nothing about them unless we plant some trees.
Yeah.
All right. Dominique, I don't know if we had any specific line items that we had real issues with.
I am asking for some you know, in the line item under protective clothing, we're asking for money for tactical vests for the ACOs, because some of the calls they go on get a little heated, and I want to protect my guys.
Yeah.
And the new trailer, because the trailer we have, I believe, has been in possession of the shelter over a decade, and she's fallen apart. And we get donated dog food from Dollar General, which would pay for that in no time. That's the two items that I'm specifically asking for money for.
Yeah. Is that a closed-in trailer?
It's not. It's just a I don't even know what you call them, a vehicle hauling trailer. I'm not sure. It's very old wood boards, wood boarded trailer. We fancied it up a couple of years ago, but it's literally rusting apart.
Okay.
Like a utility trailer.
There's the word. Thank you, Michelle.
So what are you wanting to buy? A covered trailer or the same thing?
I asked my ACO, Tyson, he wanted, I think he still wanted a utility trailer so we could still use it in the parades, still use it for hauling. But I think he was mainly looking at what would make it easier for dog food pickup. He picked out some that I sent quotes to Michelle for, and I can't remember exactly the style of it, but it would make picking them up at Dollar General easier because they have to load them with a pallet jack. And that's our main use of the trailer, is picking up food in Indianola. Excuse me.
Those quotes are in the packet in your schedule.
Why do we buy in Indianola?
Oh, we don't buy, they donate it. The distribution center donates any pallets that have been damaged. They donate. Yeah, it's about once a month, and it's about 3, they call them Gaylords, about 3 Gaylords worth of food.
That's significant.
It is. It saves us a lot of money on dog food. I can tell you that.
Real good to us.
Yes.
Hey, Jamie.
Yes, sir.
Do you anticipate your officer going to any training anytime soon?
They actually went to training on, I believe it was the 18th of last month. They went to some ASPCA sponsored training in Grenada, and we are shopping around for any kind of training we can find. We're hoping this year to find some training for the dart gun, which is the tranquilizing gun. We want to get the training first because you can't get the gun without the training. So next year we may ask for a tranquilizer gun because there's only one person in town that has one, and that would be useful in catching feral dogs and things in the town. But we're hunting her down for that. But yes, we did go to training in Grenada on the 28th. Both of my ACOs did.
Okay. Well, I remember my first meeting with you, and I just want to commend you. I know the mayor and all the rest of the board to say the same. You are doing a magnificent job at that animal shelter.
Thank you. I couldn't do it without my people that work here. I know that, but I'm very lucky to have who I have over here because I can't do it without them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Unless you have any questions, we're going to move on.
I don't, and I know y'all aren't doing personnel like with raises. I just would put a note in about my employees specifically, not me, that they're a real hardworking crew. They get up here at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning if they're doing transports, and you won't find a better crew. So if y'all all do look at raises, I'd rather y'all look at them than me because they really work it and they earn it. And we don't have a lot of turnover here, and I'd like to keep it that way.
Yes. Don't misunderstand me. It ain't that we're not looking at it. We haven't gotten to that point yet.
I know. I just wanted to make a note about it.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank y'all.
Thanks for everything.
All right, we've got Anna from the Railroad Museum at 9:30.
Okay. All right, so we got about 15 minutes. Do you want to at least for the moment, can we look at the specific request for raises by each department?
Yeah, if you guys want to go into executive session.
That's right. We'll have to
Yeah.
we'll have to do that. We'll be going in and out if we do that now.
Gary, where are those?
Let's call Anna. Let's call Anna and see if we can speed it up.
Gary, where are those raises located on the computer?
They're not yet. She hadn't pulled them up.
Well, they're so in Dropbox. So your whole
it is. It is.
Your whole big book is on Dropbox.
Okay.
So let me show you on here.
Yeah.
If you go to Dropbox on your iPad, and then
it says budget 2022.
Let me get my.
And then budget support documents all the way at the bottom.
Okay, I looked for it the other day and I couldn't find it, but that's just me.
You still want Anna to log in now?
Yes, please.
What page is it in the big book?
Toward the back, Danny. It's
all right, now look, specific raises.
I think it's 273 in it.
All right, now,
yes.
But specific raises are in every department head.
Yeah, each department head. Okay.
Yes.
You've got a list on 273
now. My budget book.
273.
Is it?
It's pretty much the whole city. Okay. 273 to 275.
No, I was just saying, did you see my? Yeah.
It's in your big book.
I thought you were saying right here. 273.
But Kirk, on the computer, if you open your Dropbox, scroll all the way down to the bottom and it says budget 2022.
You go, I hate to be inept, but I am sometimes with computers. You go to home, files.
No.
He's on his iPad.
Just go to Dropbox.
I'm there.
Okay, scroll all the way down where you see all files.
Yeah, I see
okay, scroll down to the bottom and you'll see one that says
FYE.
FYE
2022 budget.
Yes, FYE 2022 budget.
All right.
All right, open that one up, and then there's it's going to be under budget support documents.
Okay.
And then scroll down.
Third to last one.
Ma'am?
It is the third to last document at the bottom.
Okay.
Mayor.
Got it. Dominic, thank you.
You're welcome.
I need help.
Well, we all do. This is without those two ladies, we'd be in trouble.
I was gonna go ahead and plug in this 8% too.
All right. Do we have Anna yet?
She is getting ready to log on.
All right. Who's after her?
It is after her, Billy Trotter.
Okay. Tell Billy to be ready in 15 minutes.
Okay, let me call her.
Because it's not taking us but about 10 or 15 minutes unless we have issues.
You want to move everybody up 15 minutes?
Well, I mean, we're going to be through with her at 9:30, and then we'll be through with Billy Trotter at 9:45. And I mean, if we could get through with all these department heads, then we can start talking about this.
Yeah.
We can go in executive session.
Send an email instead of hang on.
Just tell everybody to be ready when we call them. All right, so Dominic, you want to go to the Railroad Museum?
Really, the main thing was this. We took it out. budget went up 70,000. This fund is in good shape, so. All right, Anna's in.
What do you want me to do? If I have to, I'm just gonna leave.
Anna, can you hear us?
I can. Can you see me? Hey.
Yeah, now we see.
Hey,
Okay.
Hey, Anna.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are y'all?
Morning, Anna.
All right, so Anna, can you see Dominique's screen?
Hello?
Good.
Uh-huh.
All right, the only real issue we have with the budget, and we talked about this pretty extensive. Ted,
Ted,
you're
Yes, sir.
making too much noise.
you on the phone, partner?
Thank you. So anyway, the only thing that we really talked about yesterday was this increase in the train engineers. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? We think that going up 25% is pretty substantial.
Okay. Yes, I can. First of all, I know like one time Mr. Danny and I talked about it, and he said, you know, that he thought that they should be volunteers, and it's just not necessarily like a volunteer job. I mean, not anybody can come in here and do what these guys do, period. I mean, I don't even know how to cut the train on, literally. And
Probably
so-
won't let you.
Do what?
They probably won't let you.
No, they don't. They don't let me touch it at all, which is probably wise. But I of course asked for, you know, in talking to Dominique, I asked for, you know, maybe more than I even thought. But like they've made $15 an hour since 2009. They've never had an increase, and I nor anyone else can do this without them. And not just even run the train, but all of the, you know, talking to everyone, like especially the Queen coming in. That, I mean, they handle so much of that, you know, with talking to for one, like the Queen is a lot of older people, and they kind of like to talk to them more than me. And it just, I mean, they do a lot of work, a lot. And then, for instance, there was a gap between, I started May the 3rd, and there was a gap between Lisa and I mean, you know, they did this they ran this on their own with no one here, and no, you know, it's not like I'm having to constantly give instruction to them. More or less, they give instruction to me.
So do they work? What kind of schedule do they work?
Okay, our schedule is, it's 5 guys, and they switch up. They most of them work about the same amount of time. So like Asa works all day, 2 days a week, and pretty much everybody works 2 days a week. Not necessarily in order, but it adds up to 2 days a week.
I'm assuming they asked for this?
Well, Asa asked me for a raise on my first day, but nobody else has said anything.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm not just doing that because he asked for it. I'm doing it because in the 3 months of working with them, I know how much these guys really do and what they, you know, what they contribute to the museum. And then I also wanted to tell you, I know that I'll never be able to make enough money to sustain the entire museum, but thinking about the the money difference, like in the past 3 months, it's actually, I started May the 3rd and it's August the 11th. So like 3 months in a week, we have made $7,500 in 3 months. I mean, that's like more money that's been made in 3 years.
Yeah.
We know you've done a great job, Anna.
Yeah. So, Anna, how much cost do you have involved in making this money?
Well, it varies to some extent, because this amount that I just told you is not just like gift shop. It's also donation. It's just a full amount. But like I'm not very organized, y'all, so I make sticky notes. Hold on. I like camps. We had 3 summer camps this week, which is 3 days that are only half days. Minus the expense for summer camps, we made $2,000.
So when you're giving us a number, you're saying that $7,500 was after cost.
Well, not after it's somewhat. It's not after my gift shop cost though. Like that's not minus like what I paid for shirts. But then a lot of things in the gift shop are kind of on commission. And so it is a full amount on that stuff. Shirts are not.
Cost of goods you're talking about, Gary. Where's cost of goods?
Well, and that's why I was asking the question, because I think let's see.
It's gonna be
He's asking for a pretty good increase on what program expense. Is that where you're doing that?
Okay, program expense would be like events that we have here. Like I do story time weekly. We do popcorn. I'm trying to do more camps. I want to do a lot with 50 Nights of Lights and Santa Claus and all that. And I mean, it just really costs money to do all that. And not that it's even a big amount of money at one time. It's more, things that I have to buy. I mean, it's usually like, $100 would be a lot.
Dominique, I think it would be in order to increase our revenue, because I think we were conservative there.
Oh, yeah.
Because we made the comment that this has only been going on for 3 months, and so we didn't want to make the assumption. But I mean, she's already done more than 3 months than we have in the whole budget.
Yeah.
What would you want to do? Increase that other revenues 5? Are you getting a lot of donations, Anna, or is it more so related to events that people are paying you to host?
I would say donations is probably a 4th.
Yeah.
It just
Are you averaging about 500? Are you averaging about $500 a month in donations?
Yes.
Would that be conservative?
I'm scared to say yes, but yes.
You see what he's doing, don't you?
I do see what he's doing. I don't want him to mess me up.
Well, maybe keep that donations flat, maybe, or maybe add 500 or 1,000. But it sounds like she's just doing really good, I know, with gift shop sales.
Well, the thing about it is she's creating events, and some of these people are leaving satisfied, and that's why they're donating money, which we didn't have in the past. I think it would be appropriate to double that number at least. I'd put $2,000 there.
For the year?
It'd be $4,000 for the year.
Okay.
That's only averaging $350 a month.
Anna, when you put on an event, if you have someone that wants to sponsor that event and write you a check for $300, $400, $500, get them to make it out. Gary, can we still do it to the Cleveland Development Foundation so they get a write-off?
Yes, Becky told me about that.
Yeah, as long as they earmark it for the Railroad Museum, so Dominique and Michelle can keep up with it in terms of the museum.
Good.
Yeah, it's Cleveland Development Foundation.
Yeah, Becky came and talked to me about some stuff and told me that. And
okay,
also,
good.
we are being paid for the Queen.
What do you mean by that?
We make $2.50 a head. And
Okay.
that it costs me to be open when the queen is here, especially considering like a Monday, which is a day that I don't normally have the guys here. And I'm also having an additional cleaning done, or I'm really not having an additional cleaning. I'm more just trying to move it around. But it cost me $390 to be open. They are paying me $250 a head. And so like the last time the queen was here, it was 180 people. They pay you per the amount of people that are on the boat, whether they come in here or not. It's irrelevant if they come in.
Wow.
So we made $450 just off of the ticket sales. And then we made another about $350 in gift shop sales. So we made like seven something that day.
It costs you 400 to open, 380 or 400 to open, right?
That's right. Because
Okay.
I really need 3 people here instead of 2.
Okay.
That's great. Has Emily provided you with the American Queen schedule?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Be here tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that has been a great addition to Cleveland.
Yeah, and they're we had real good success with that.
What's their reaction, Anna, when they come?
They love it. They do. I would think the only thing we need as a town to work on maybe is and I've talked to Laura Bowman about this a little bit, is getting them some kind of like pamphlet in order that tells them like places to eat. I know we have the map of Cleveland, but all it does is tell you the name of places. They don't know what's there. Like, for instance, Mississippi Ground sounds like a coffee shop. They don't know that they have barbecue and sandwiches and all that. You know, they need some help with that, I feel like.
Laura and Cade would be good ones to.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you know, we've talked to the chamber that all of their collateral material needs to be updated because we got more people coming to Cleveland now, and this needs to be in the restaurants, it needs to be in the hotels, and it needs to be something that's handed to these people when they get off that boat.
And Gary, it could be a temporary. You could have a sheet of paper.
It could be a one-pager.
One thing. They sell barbecue. They sell sandwiches.
Well, I'm on the Team Cleveland and I don't know. I'm on like every board, I think, besides y'all's.
Welcome to
board.
And so I don't mind to even work something up, that says, because like even the shops needs to say like women's apparel or children's apparel or what, it just needs to be more detailed, I feel like.
You and Kate and Laura need to be on the same page on that, Adam.
Yeah, I just think they just didn't know. I mean, where I am is called the Railroad Museum. It's not really confusing what's going on in here, but it is to some of the other places.
Doesn't have to be elaborate, just a sheet of paper.
Right.
Yeah. Have any of the schools lined up anything with you for the school year?
Not yet. I did all that through through summer. We had almost every school or like day camp, even Leland, Greenville, Clarksdale, and then all around here. But I have been working on a document to send the schools that are telling them things we're doing like monthly. That way they can call and, book something. Like next week, I'm having Elvis week. And so I'm going to send that out.
You having what week?
Elvis.
He's in the corner there. He's in the building already.
Andy, you gonna play?
He's right behind. Yeah, there he is.
Okay, good. Good.
That's great.
He shows up occasionally.
Yeah.
One of the things, Anna, we talked about, and this has nothing to do with the budget, but we talked about having a coordinated event between you and all of the other attractions we have in Cleveland, like the Grammy Museum and Boo Ferris Museum, the Delta State Archives, and let's look at our marketing material so that we can all piggyback off each other.
And I have spoken, her name is Katie at the Grammy. She's over the like education side of it. And so we have a new package that'll go out to all the schools, and it's they will come to the Grammy here, Boo Ferris, and then we will provide them lunch at the baseball stadium. And we've already talked to Coach Kennison and all them, and that's going to be a package that we send out, and they'll well, of course the Grammy will be paid, they always are, but we will be paid for that as well too. I think we did like I think I would make $3 a person.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, Anna, do you have any questions?
I don't. I love my job. Thank you.
Doing a great job.
I really enjoy it, and I hope we can just keep going like we are going. And I think we have a good working atmosphere. Me and all the guys, it works real well, and you know, I feel like we're a good team together.
That's great to hear.
Anna, I would like to personally tell you thank you for your efforts. I can see that energy that you have. You're going to do a great job. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank you. That's kind. Thank you.
I haven't got a chance to meet you officially, but I promise you I'm coming.
Well, I'm here.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Get some of the aldermen and the mayor to come read to the children one day.
I will. That's why I had to have my budget meeting now. They'll all be here in about 30 minutes.
That'd be fun.
Good deal. Thank you, Anna.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
So we've got Billy up next. Michelle, did you get Billy?
I did. He said he was, we got finished early. He said I told him 15 minutes early, and he said he would log in at 9:45. I can text him and tell him to go on and log in.
Yeah.
So the package that she was talking about with for the schools, that's a similar package to what they did for the steamboat, the American Queen deal. Right. So they're paying, like they're going to the Railroad Museum, the Grammy, of course, you know, all the different places, and they're paying each one so much, you know, for the stop. I think they're having lunch maybe at I can't remember. They're doing a sack lunch somewhere, or doing a lunch at one of the stops where they go.
You know, and the big boat hadn't even come yet.
Oh, really?
It's just going to get bigger and bigger.
We've been getting the small boats up to this point. The big boat's going to have over 350 people on it.
Wow. Yeah.
And word gets out quick about what they enjoy in these different places. We did that at one point, Becky and I, and really word gets around, and I think Cleveland's going to be a real hit for the people.
So you want me to go ahead and text Billy?
Please.
I just texted.
And whoever's after him, tell them to get ready.
Okay.
Gary, are we going to wait and discuss this trained engineer increase?
Yeah, I think when we start talking about raises, we'll come back. You know, maybe if we just give them $1. You know, instead of going to $20 an hour, we went to 16.
I agree.
Agree. Just keep
it. Gary, I have a question. I haven't looked at it. What about the men and women in the public works at the lower level hourly rate people?
That's on that list too.
Right. Yeah, we're going. I'm with you, Kurt. We're going to go. We're going to address that. We're going to address that.
Thank you.
Morning, Billy.
Good morning. How y'all doing today?
Hey, Billy.
We're good. We're good.
Good.
You got everything under control?
Yes, sir.
Well, then we enjoy talking to you. Because we ain't got everything under control.
Hey.
All right, Billy, this is your budget that we have before you. The only thing I will say before we get into it is we are going to talk about payroll later today. We
Okay.
have not discussed any payroll at this point.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So what we're talking about now are budget line items as they pertain to community development.
Yes, sir.
One of the first things on this list, we are increasing. Well, we're really not increasing. We're keeping our public nuisance cleanup where it was, but we only spent 17,000 last year. Are we going to be spending any more in the next 3 months?
Oh, well, I had one that's actually by your building, by your office. I was getting ready to demolish, but South Delta sold the house, so I had to rerun it again. But that was one I had Joe getting ready to demolish for me.
Okay.
And I was trying to save a little bit so we won't need too much for the Shamrock project. But Jamie called and told me to hold up on that as well.
Shamrock, I did look up the quote. I put it in y'all's budget packet Dropbox. It's 166,000.
Holy smoke.
Good gracious.
So I can actually pull it on the screen.
Did you say 160?
166.
Holy
This
smoke.
portion appears based on our annual code enforcement bid that Joe Reed usually puts in for, and he won the bid. He was the only bidder this year. And then you've got the parking lots down here, those two, and then the backfill.
All right, let me ask a question. And this is really stretching it. We spend money for streets and curbs and gutters and sewer and all of that, and we spend that out of bonded money. This is a property improvement cost. Why couldn't we bond it? What's the difference? Because our bonded money represents improvements to property that the city owns.
We don't own that, do we?
We don't own it, but in theory, we're supposed to get that money back because we essentially have a tax lien on it.
Right.
We don't have to spend a lot of time. Let's don't spend time on that right now, but I certainly want to think about it. We got some room in our bond money.
Yeah.
To do this with, and another 166,000 will absolutely devastate what we're trying to do right now.
Yep.
But we need to keep our 65 or whatever in there because we talk about this year round. And we run out of money when we do it like we're supposed to do.
We need to give Billy the opportunity to do routine cleanups.
Yes.
Right.
We definitely need to address Shamrock because it's a public safety hazard.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. All right. Going down the list, obviously landfill fees will go up if we do more demolition. We've had every discussion we've had, Billy, with everyone. Software maintenance is an issue. This year y'all have spent only $6,300, and your projected cost to the end of the year is about $84.79. So why is that going up $5,000? Do you have any idea?
I do know back in February 19th, we had a flood and computers got damaged due to the flood in the building when the pipes burst. So I'm guessing that could have been what that has came from. I'm not sure. No, but that's going in equipment. No, that's not it.
No, Billy, this is our works, Billy. Yeah, this is our works. We can look and pull. Yeah, we can look and pull the annual maintenance agreement for that, and see what that should be.
Yeah, that's gonna come from our work. I have to check and see.
Yeah, I think we can take $4,000 out of that line item.
I think that's.
Okay. And if something happens during the year, Billy, and you do have more software maintenance or fees, then just let us know.
Yes, sir.
Now, our renewal was $6,000, and in the previous fiscal year, they spent $6,300. So I think it's just got some plus in there for incidentals that may come up through the year possibly. So,
Okay, so $9,000 should cover it.
right.
Okay, very good. On down the line, cleaning supply. Now let's see what went up. Gasoline. That's a pretty substantial increase there.
$2,000.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about going up a third as much. So take $1,000 out of that line item. All right. As far as the vehicle is concerned, what we're gonna try to do, Billy, with a lot of these vehicles we're having to buy this year, we're gonna try to lease as many of them as we can,
Okay.
so we don't have 100% outlay.
Yes, sir.
So that puts your budget really is. I wish we could get every budget as close as this one is. It's not in bad shape at all.
Yes,
Do
sir.
you have any significant questions of us at this point?
No, sir, I don't. I'm only concerned. I'm concerned about the vehicle because I have one vehicle that the new inspector in. He's it keeps quitting on him, so we having to boost him off every time he cuts it off. So I just concerned about the vehicle. And also, Hope mentioned to me about the equipment run with the printer with the copier from image specialist. She said it was in a negative, and she thinks that maybe need to be more money in that line item to cover the maintenance fees for that equipment run that we're doing, which is $541, the line item.
Got 2,500 in there, Billy. Is that enough?
Yeah, that should be able to cover because I think now she's like $207 over. I mean, the negative at this time.
Okay.
I see you guys got vehicles up there. Are all those vehicles at the building are down?
Well, we only have we're using the 5513, which is the one that Brett purchased me in 2012, and we got that little car that Kim had, and it don't run at all. It just sits there. If you crank it up, it'll run a day or so, then it won't crank as well. We have to constantly buy batteries for that. And it's just wasting money with putting it on the road.
Okay. All right.
Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna try to understand vehicle maintenance.
Well, Billy, are you saying that this one vehicle is not enough? Tell us.
Yeah,
what you're
that
saying.
one vehicle. Yeah, that's sir. That one vehicle is good. I took the truck that Kenny had and gave it to one of the new guys, and then one of the other new guys got my old truck, which was 2012, but it's not operable. I mean, it quits on a week. I just had a battery put in it last week, so I just needed another vehicle to get that one up there to the public works on the yard for drawing and wrapping, whatever it goes.
Okay. I have a question, please, Billy. Yesterday, it was brought up that the alleyway behind the downtown businesses were looking terrible and needed cleaning up. And I mentioned that I knew that a week or so ago y'all sent out a number of citations to these businesses. Is that correct? Would you bring us up to speed on that, please?
Yes, sir. We went through the alley, and behind a lot of the business were grown up trash, tree limbs, debris. And so we ran on 21-19-11, but some of the property owners was unaware of what was behind their building, and they didn't say that they didn't put it back there, whatever. Because we don't know who put it back there, but we just asked that they get it cleaned up or whatever. But
it's their property.
The owner of the building is responsible.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Stay on them, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And Bill, all the grass cutting and stuff, I see y'all trying to stay on top of it as well. And
yes, sir. We finally got to get a hold of it. We working on it now. We got a nice little hold of it. Steve-O has been very helpful with the grass back. The grass kind of got out of hand. It was taking like 21 days to cut one lot. And I met with the mayor or whatever, and I met with Ms. Dominique about it after before it. I met with the mayor about it so we can have a meeting with Public Works before Ray Bell left. But Steve-O has been very helpful with the grass. So we actually cutting it before the 21 days that they had asked us to give them previous.
Yeah, we're getting a good turnaround on that. What may help also is Gary brought a list that I think his better half had made up. If you all the one, as you kind of go around your neighborhoods and check things, we can always use more eyes. So feel free to
I
take care
tell
of
you
your
what,
own
man.
neighborhood.
I'm just like you. I know you do out throughout the city, but I ride my neighborhood every daily, and Bill and them know they get emails from me every day.
Well, getting him the information will be a big help to him.
Yes, sir. And last but not least, and I can't say it enough, Bill, the landlords, let's stay on some of these rental properties, man.
Yes, sir. We have a September deadline for the rental registration. I'm gonna get with the attorney and see what type of teeth they want to stick into it after the ones that don't register rental properties. But we have the letters has went out and the September deadline is fastly approaching. So I'm gonna get with Katie and Danny and see what we need to do about the ones that do not register their properties for inspection. You're welcome.
Billy, you have any questions?
No, sir, I do not.
Well, we appreciate it. You're doing a good job.
Doing a good job, Billy.
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you, Billy.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Billy.
You know, one thing that we talked about, Mayor, we talked about maybe getting some specific training for he and Danita. You know, these two people are actually running that department probably better than it's been run in a while.
Absolutely.
You know, and
We don't need
we
to forget that either.
well, we can make it without a director if we can get these two people trained.
That's my thoughts at this point.
Yep.
With Greg's help.
That being
also.
that being the case, Dominique, what does that do to payroll?
Depends on what you wanted to do with them, with those two that you just mentioned.
Well,
if you want to take it out completely,
if we took the director out and we compensated them for the extra responsibility, we would still be way better off.
Yeah, you're talking about $80,000.
Okay, so when Mayor, that will make a significant difference, not only in this department, but in our whole budget as well.
That's been my thoughts, is the way I was looking at it.
It may be the saving grace to help us give some of these other people some raises.
Yeah. That's 89.5 right there. Between
is that include the whole package?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's salary, insurance, PERS, and FICA.
Yes.
Very good.
They solve some of our problems for sure.
That's awesome. Well, I'm telling you, those two people have some energy, and it's starting to show up.
Yeah, and they've got some folks under them that are picking up steam now too. I think it's a lot better attitude.
That's fabulous. Michelle, we got our next person ready.
Clint is trying to log in from his phone because he's out.
He's here.
Who is this?
This is Clint.
Yeah.
Clint, he's
Can
here.
you hear me?
Yep.
I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Is she gonna be able to see it? Is she
I'm
gonna be able
trying
to see it?
There we go.
There he is.
Oh, there you go.
Look at him with those sunglasses.
I know it. He looks like a pilot.
Yeah, we're out here on the field. I don't know if you remember or not. I in one of my reports a few months ago, I mentioned about NOAA was looking at Cleveland's possible site to put a weather radar.
Yeah.
And, they're here this morning. I've been out showing them around. They're looking at a site right now. So I'm kind of out of the office at the moment, but
Good. Okay.
They're gonna give you some money.
I don't know if they'll be giving us any money or not. But it's if the site will work out, it's a portable radar, and it's more of a research type radar, and it's kind of interesting. If you get a chance, it's the study they're doing is called Vortex Southeast, and so they've got sites set up across Louisiana, Alabama, and they're trying to put some here in Mississippi.
I have NOAA app on my phone, and that's an awesome company. I'm glad we're getting that.
Yeah,
all right,
going for a tornado, I think it's very cool.
Yeah, Clint, we're gonna pull your budget up. I don't know how much of it you're gonna be able to see on your phone.
Yeah, it's kind of tiny.
Okay, well,
You can pinch it out too, Clint. You can pinch it out on your phone too.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Clint, we're not gonna address payroll in this discussion. All we're talking about is other line items. We're going to, okay, this taxiway fixture thing that Dominique is highlighting. You want to explain a little bit?
What it is all of our taxiway fixtures are LEDs, and the problem is that they've got some age on them now, so they're starting to continuously go out. And it's not like some of the regular incandescent lights that we have on the runway where we can just go out and change the bulb. We have to change out the entire fixture because it's a computer board that's inside them that's going out. And the problem is these lights are about $200 a piece, give or take a little bit. So that's the reason I've been asking for those, is just because, like I said, they've been in the ground 10 years now, or 9 years. So like I said, they're getting some age on them. And
so do these things have a 10-year life?
That I'm not sure. But like I said, they've continuously been a pain about the last 5 years. Up until then, we didn't have really any issues out of them, just one or two here and there. Yeah. But all of a sudden, the last couple of years, it's gotten worse.
Our question, the reason we're asking the question, we're trying to see in the cases where we have LED changes that we're making throughout the city, we're bonding most of that. We're trying to see if this would be legitimately something that could be bonded. And that's why the extended life makes a difference.
Okay, that's something that I can check with Brian about and get back with you.
Okay, if you'll just tell Dominique or Michelle, okay, what you find out, that'll be helpful to us.
Because whenever these lights were put in, there was only one FAA certified taxiway light, and that's what was put in at the time. They didn't have any FAA certified runway lights, so our runway lights are the old quartz fixtures. So they're easy to maintain. If the bulb goes out, you just swap out the bulb. These LED lights are really nice, but like I said, the issue we're running into is now that they're starting to get some age on them and starting to go out, there's nothing to replace other than the whole fixture.
Gotcha. All right. I know you have a request in here for a new truck.
Yes, sir.
What we're going to try to do is we're going to either lease or finance it locally.
Okay.
That way we can cut our initial cost down.
Yeah, I was having an extremely hard time getting quotes for a new truck. Just, I guess, with the vehicle shortage and the chip shortage, and with us needing a quote now, but purchasing it later on in the year, I contacted 5 dealerships and only 2 of them really gave me anything.
Wow. All right. No major problems with your budget at this stage. And so I guess the next question would be, do you have any questions?
No, sir, unless y'all had anything. I did just kind of want to, I guess, follow up on our meeting yesterday about the road going in down to air repair. In the past, when I've spoken to Pete about it, he was willing to contribute some financially to the project. Now, to what extent, I don't know, but he would be possibly willing to participate financially in that project as well.
Who was going to call the county about that? Didn't we talk about that yesterday too?
Yes. I don't know who was going to do that, Brian. We didn't really
get that far.
I'll be glad to do that. It's Kurt. I'll call Will Hooker.
Okay,
that'd be great.
And write a letter. I'm going to write a letter.
Pete didn't give you any indication how much he'd be willing to help, did he?
No, sir. We never actually talked any figures, but he did state that he'd be willing to participate.
We're going to figure out the approach. I think Clint is going to start that discussion.
Clint, you can tell. Well, you have the quote on it, don't you? It was around 250,000.
Yes, it was right there at 250.
Okay. So if we can go on and get that discussion going, what we're going to try to do is, based on what he decides to help us with and what the county helps us with, we're going to bond the rest of it and try to go on and get it in our bond that we do in January.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you'll if we can kind of push that discussion along.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely be in touch with them.
Very good. Clint, we appreciate it. Y'all doing a great job at the airport. I know we're proud of the way it looks and what it means to Cleveland.
Yeah.
I think all this expansion is exciting, and I mean, with Delta State doing what they're doing, this is a great opportunity for us.
Well, I've always really appreciated the board's support of the airport because I've talked to other engineers and other airport managers, and they don't get near the support that at other airports have y'all given us out here. So I do appreciate that.
We have a great commission, I tell you. Don't you agree, Clint?
Yes, they're very active and very involved. And definitely want to see the airport grow in the best part.
Well, it's good for all of us, so we just need to keep plugging away. Mayor, you got anything else?
No, thank you, Clint. Great job.
All right, thank y'all. I'll talk to y'all later.
Thank
Good
you.
deal.
Clint.
All right, thank y'all.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and pull Steve-O in.
Can we take a break for just a few minutes?
Sure.
All right, let's come back in 10 minutes.
Okay.